Hey, what's going on guys, it's Bagas here, and today we are going to be reviewing a relatively obscure dinosaur documentary, at least in my view considering that I only found out about its existence about a month ago, Dinosaurs Alive. So because of that, I'm fully going into this with no prior knowledge whatsoever, so this will be a complete and honest review. Also, apparently this is another 3D IMAX film, so I guess I kinda miss wondering my whole 3D mini saga. Dinosaurs Alive is a 40-minute 3D IMAX documentary film that, as opposed to showing dinosaurs living their lives, it mostly shows the science element of dinosaur documentaries, but it does still have some scenes of dinosaurs in their environment, and the series is also narrated by Michael Douglas. Now, much like my Truth About Killer Dinosaurs review, since this is like 99% science, I'm just going to be mentioning overall what the film contains, along with a few highlights, because the best way for you guys to experience this is by watching it for yourself. The film starts with a battle between Velociraptor and Protoceratops before fading into the iconic fossil. Also, this is like the third documentary we've reviewed that has shown this exact same fight. After that, we also get a really cool title drop, with like the title being shown by sand being blown away by the wind, so I thought that was pretty cool. Now from this point onward, the rest of the film is a mix of historical paleontological stories, discoveries in the modern day, and scenes of dinosaurs, whether in their environment or in what I could only describe as a CGI dinosaur showcase. Some highlights include a pair of velociraptors raiding an oviraptor nest that ends with the nesting grounds being flooded, two Coelophysis hunts with one of them featuring this horrendous looking Postosuchus. Dear God, what is this abomination? And of course the Tarbosaurus and Tarkia fight that is like all over YouTube. In fact, prior to watching this film, this fight was pretty much my only exposure to the film. The rest is pretty much science and educational material, so like I said, if you want the full experience, go watch it for yourself. But the film does end with a beautiful testimony to paleontologists and paleontology as a whole. You know, Dinosaurs Alive is basically the exact opposite of March of the Dinosaurs, which I reviewed last week, check it out. Because whereas that film told a story with its dinosaurs, this one goes purely for the science. Now, on the one hand, I usually give a lot more leeway to science-focused dinosaur documentaries, but unlike Ballad of Big Al or Truth About Killer Dinosaurs, this one doesn't really have that like special aspect that lifts it up beyond just science. Because in Ballad of Big Al, they also told the story of Al, and in Truth About Killer Dinosaurs, they had a unique and interesting premise. While Dinosaurs Alive focuses on, like, just general paleontology. Now, that's not a bad thing, it's just that it makes it kind of a bland dinosaur documentary. At times, it can be quite boring. Now, if you enjoy the science, then you're obviously not going to feel that way, but it doesn't have that entertainment factor other dinosaur documentaries have to attract mainstream audience. Besides that, the visuals were a mixed bag also. The models are very well detailed, and as I've said in the last review, feathered dinosaurs are always a plus. But sometimes the blending with the environments can be a bit suspect, especially in this one Sizosaurus scene, and it just really brought me out of the film, especially considering the fact that I was in the beginning of the film. The 3D is also a lot more in your face this time, not as much as something like C-Rex, but at the same time the quality is not as good as C-Rex, so it feels more jarring to watch it. However, I will say the pacing was pretty good, and it definitely prevented the documentary from being too boring, too being the operative word. So in conclusion, this is just an average dinosaur documentary for me. Nothing special, but also nothing bad, and honestly, I'm not too surprised I only found out about it recently, because there's not really anything that sets it apart from superior documentaries. Alright, tier list time. Quality wise, I give it a 4.2 because pretty much the one thing that gets it this high of a score is the fact that it's a science focused documentary, and as I've said, I usually give a lot more leeway to those because they're also a lot more rare, so each one kind of deserves to, I don't know, I guess it's a lot more, it's special that way in quotation marks because I kind of contradicted what I said, but anyways, uh, at the same time, Dinosaurs Alive doesn't really have anything else going for it. It's just purely science, and that's good for educational purposes. But as an overall dinosaur documentary compared to what I have reviewed in the past, it doesn't really hold up. So 4.2. Entertainment wise, I give it a 3.5 because if you enjoy the science, then you're obviously gonna have a fun time watching it. But aside from a few brief action scenes that that don't last long and have like no story or plot or whatever in them, they're literally just mindless action sequences that also have a science element to it, but in the context of it, it's just a bland action sequence, and not bland, mindless action sequence. There's not really anything else to keep you entertained, so especially if you don't really find that much entertainment in the science. I mean, it's fun to learn new things, but there's a point where you also need that entertainment in a documentary, so that's why it's not really that good for entertainment purposes. Rewatchability, I give it a 4.3 because pretty much the fact that it's only 40 minutes definitely gave it this high of a score because I really don't think you have much of a reason to revisit this one. Unless you want to relearn stuff, that's cool. But other than that, I really don't think you're gonna find a reason to review this one, to not to revisit this one again. Now, as for my personal opinion, I give it a 3.5. In a world, bleh, in a word, underwhelming. The only thing that I enjoyed beyond just several surface level stuff is the fact that it's a science focused dinosaur documentary. And as I've said plenty of times, I give a little more. I tend to prefer those when doing reviews because I don't know. It shows that the film makers obviously care about the science, not just for entertainment purposes purely. Because you need to balance those two things. And looking from its theatrical performance, I honestly, this is what I expected it to turn out, and I had no expectations whatsoever. So I can't really say how I felt disappointed like Dance of Patagonia, because I purely expected this to happen. Actually, I purely expected a quite boring um, film that focuses a lot on the science. So yeah, I'm not too surprised. So I don't really feel that much of a disappointment. It's just kind of bland. And I prefer my dinosaur documentaries to have that extra little like sauce. Why am I using cooking terms? That kind of makes it special. And this one is just an average and honestly pretty forgettable. So that brings up to a total of 15.5. I think it's the new lowest dinosaur documentary. I think so. That puts it in A tier below Giants of Patagonia. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And first of all, the lighting is absolutely atrocious because I don't know if you can tell, but it's a really cloudy day for some reason, but it's not raining or whatsoever. So, eh. So that's why the lighting's terrible. And also, I'm uploading on consecutive weeks, and really, this one is on schedule, and the last one was just late. So technically, I shouldn't be doing consecutive weeks. It's just how it worked out. And to compensate for the fact that I'm potentially risking burning myself out, I'm reviewing a shorter documentary. And also, this should be the first video of December. I don't know if it's gonna come out in the first or the second, but it's gonna come out. It's gonna be the first video to come out on December. So, I guess since by the time you're watching this, I mean, it's still the end of November right now. So it's the final Sunday of November. So yeah. Also my I don't know why recently my recording sessions have been an absolute mess. I keep messing up, and I don't know what has been up with me. Maybe I just need to take a break. I mean, I'll definitely take a break after I'm talking about like a month in the future, but I'll definitely take a break around New Year's to recharge my batteries and also my creative thinking muscles. So aside from that, I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Oh well, I guess I'll see you in December. Bye. Although wait, technically we're already in December by the time you're watching this.